Let that run for just a second.
Questions raised, but they all pass by. Harvested ballots, one more load, rolling down another back road.
All right, 7:34 this morning here on Richmond's Morning News. This is News Radio WRVA. Big question. Is the fix in when it comes to these elections in California? And why should you care if you live here in the Commonwealth of Virginia? Well, lucky for you, at 7:35 this morning, you're listening to Richmond's Morning News on News Radio WRVA, because I'm going to explain to you why this matters to the Commonwealth. You ever heard the term jungle primary? That's what they have in California. And here's why I'm bringing this up in Richmond, Virginia. Because I'm starting to hear chatter in Democratic circles is maybe Virginia should go to the so-called jungle primary. That's where I want to go right now here at Richmond's Morning News. Again, my name is Rich Herrera. You can always comment this morning at 833-804-1140. I saw this tweet. It said, if you're saying California is taking forever to count ballots, this must be fraud. While I share your distaste for a public policy decision the state has made, there are hundreds of excellent articles explaining how the process works and why it takes so many days. Just Google, why does it take California a long time to count ballots, and read one or two of them before jumping to conclusions. Okay. I have, and I live there, and I've seen it. I almost feel like in many points, when we talk about don't CA my VA, I had a really wonderful, just beautiful listener actually made me bumper stickers that say, don't CA my VA. I think we should make t-shirts, because in a way, I feel like Sarah Connor in a way, Terminator, like somebody came from the future to warn us of what's going on. And then Sarah Connor's the only one knowing that Arnold's going to be coming back as a Terminator to try to wipe everybody out. I feel like that many times here in Virginia, because I grew up in California. I left California. I came back to California, and I saw how awful it had become. All my friends told me forever, don't come back. It's horrible. But I came back because I wanted to be closer to family. And when I got there, I said, holy cow, this is not the state I remember. It took them about a decade and a half to take it from what I remember to where it was, and how awful and how the whole thing is falling apart. And what I see here in Virginia is that decade and a half, that 2-decade trek that California went from two-party state, Republicans and Democrats, to a one-party state that is just going off the abyss. I see that happening in the Commonwealth of Virginia in a matter of months. We're on super speed. We are on the bullet train to one-party rule here in Virginia. And I'm going to warn you, once you get to that one-party rule, how awful it is for everybody. You want an example of how one-party rule doesn't work? Because no matter what the party is, they're always going to have people that are going to want to seize the power for themselves. Just look what we have at Capitol Square right now. We can't get a budget because Louise Lucas has single-handedly decided she doesn't want to honor our agreement with the data centers, and now she wants to take away their special tax exemption, which brought most of those data centers here to the Commonwealth of Virginia. And she's going to hold up the entire process of our budget. And today is June 8th. They're supposed to have it done by the end of the month. I doubt if they get it done. I doubt if they strike a deal. One-party rule never works. You need to have checks and balances. You need to have somebody keep you honest. Honestly, who in your life keeps you honest? Because that's when people start getting in trouble, when they become so arrogant and they have such high esteem of themselves, and they have such hubris that they don't think that anybody else needs to matter because they're so important. And that's what's happening right now in Capitol Square. That's what happened in California. So let me explain to you why you need to be concerned of what's going on in California, because it is a roadmap of where we will be heading unless Virginia wakes up. Unless Virginia wakes up. So you hear this whole idea. So here's what's going on. Spencer Pratt, reality TV star, runs for mayor of Los Angeles. Why? Because his house got burned down in the Pacific Palisades fire. So those of you that aren't familiar with the West Coast, Pacific Palisades, beautiful, ritzy, bougie community up above Santa Monica, next to the beach, next to the cliffs, where Malibu meets Santa Monica. It is some of the most expensive real estate you have anywhere in Los Angeles. And there was the Arcadia fire happened at the same time. Another affluent neighborhood burned to the ground. Karen Bass was the mayor. She happened to not be in town, even though there were Santa Ana winds. What happens is the Santa Ana winds kick up and they come through Los Angeles and they kick up to 75 miles an hour. And for gusts, not sustained winds, but gusts. And anytime there's any ember, it could just pick up and run and get dropped in the middle of something, and it turns into this huge fire. It's why you have these wildfires in California. There's a bunch of other reasons, but that's primarily what happens. She knew that they were going to have these fires. The reservoir that fed the fire hydrants was bare, desolate, not a drop of water in there. So then when they took up the fire hydrants to put out the fire, there's no water, and she's still mayor of Los Angeles. So Spencer Pratt goes, I'm going to run. This is ridiculous. My house burned to the ground while this idiot isn't even in the country, and we don't have water for the fire hydrants. How can you still be mayor of Los Angeles? You let this town burn down. So he runs, outsider. We think he ran a pretty good campaign because he showed up on Fox News every 3 minutes. But in Los Angeles, was that enough to count? So the day of the election, they come back, the early returns, the second returns, the nightly returns. He's in second place. We're going to have a runoff. That's great. But this is California, and this is where you need to be concerned. Steve Hilton, same thing. He was leading, and now all of a sudden he's slipping. And the guy who was in charge of our response for COVID, we know how well that turned out. He's in first place now for governor of California. How does this happen? How did you go from, here's what happened on election night, a week later, now, all of a sudden we found all these ballots. Here's what happens. And here's why election integrity is important. So California has this jungle primary, which means the top two candidates, no matter what party, will advance. And when they sold this to the people, they said, you know what? We don't need to be bogged down by Republicans, Democrats. Let's get the best people to run. Well, in a blue state, that means you're going to have two Democrats running for the office, and Republicans never have a chance because they've got to beat all the Democrats instead of the Republican Party offers one, Democrat Party offers one. I bring this up to you because here in Virginia, there are people on the Democratic side, and now that they have the General Assembly and the governor's office and the Attorney General, I'm warning you right now, they're going to try to advance this here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So what happens is you have the jungle primary, top two people go into the general election. But here's how California runs it. Okay? California approved the harvesting of ballots, saying that, well, I could go pick up the ballot from my neighbor and my grandmother and my aunt, my uncle, my disabled person down the street. I could just go pick up their votes, drop them off for them. I can help them vote. Seems pretty good until it becomes a racket. And you have people that are harvesting thousands of ballots, picking them up from homeless shelters, people living on the streets, retirement homes, union shops, and all of a sudden people are walking in, dropping off 1,000 ballots at a time. No chain of command, no chain of custody. Just all of a sudden, Rich walks in, boom, let me give you 1,000 ballots. Nobody knows where they came from. Nobody knows how I got them. And it's completely legal. It's called ballot harvesting. We have that in a lot of places around the country. But California went one step further. In California, during COVID, Gavin Newsom, who would love to be the Democratic nominee for president, said everybody gets a ballot. No matter what, whoever you are, we're going to send a ballot to your house. That way you could vote during COVID. By the way, they keep doing it right now. So everybody gets a ballot mailed to their house. Seems like a good idea, right? But you know what? The road to you know what is paved with good ideas. So everybody gets a ballot. I know one person that got 5 ballots because she had 5 different addresses over the last few years, going to college, having an apartment, moving out of the apartment, moving here, moving there, and then they come back to their original house. They have all these ballots sent to them, 5. who's to keep that person from turning all those ballots in? I'll ask you this, right? So we're renting a house in Henrico. You know what I get every day? Mail from the last 3 people that live there, including the landlord. What if those were ballots in Virginia? I'd get all those ballots sent to my house. What's to keep me from filling them out, dropping them off, giving them to a ballot harvester? That's what goes on in California. So let's see. Jungle primary, harvesting of ballots is okay. Everybody gets a ballot, and then they have a law that says postmarked up to 7 days. So now everybody could drop off ballots no matter what. And then I could have massive drop-offs on election day. So now you're seeing people that don't control their own ballots, not one man, one vote. It's one dude picking up everybody else's ballots, giving you 1,000 votes at a time. Oh, and by the way, just in case you're wondering, if that's not enough for the slow count, they did, and they're working on the Nick Shirley Act, which means that people cannot go and investigate shady things going on in the state like fraud or ballot harvesting. It would be against the law to go out there and videotape and try to come up with something like that. The reason I bring all of that up is I want to raise the red flag right now here on Richmond's Morning News this morning, Monday, June 8th, because I'm telling you right now, the same people that brought you ballot harvesting and jungle primaries have their eyes set on this Commonwealth. I've heard the rumors. I've seen people talk about it. I've seen it discussed on social media, and that's how it starts. They start talking about it amongst themselves, and if there's no pushback, guess what? Oh, I guess that's okay. And then it starts to bubble up, bubble up, bubble up. And before you know it, you get jungle primaries and ballot harvesting and a Nick Shirley Act. No, you need to be aware of this. So when they start talking about we should have jungle primaries where we just get the top 2 to show up, and it was discussed in the General Assembly this year, say no. Do not CA my VA. Folks, I'm warning you, if Virginia is not careful, the same people that brought you the policies that have ruined California are doing everything they can to do this to Virginia before our very eyes. Don't let that happen. You want to comment? Please feel free. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140 on the James River Air text line. Please, dear God, do not CA my VA.
For your financial.
Do not CA my VA. All right.